Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. This is the morning ride in. I ran into my first issue with capacity yesterday. I was trying to make space on my phone. I haven't run out of space yet. Like I said, I've got a 1 terabyte hard drive in this phone. But I started to try to transfer files from my phone to my PC. The initial problem I ran into is that I think my C drive is a half a terabyte. Even if it is a terabyte, it turns out that these video files are pretty big, so I think it's a half a terabyte. I've installed a D drive after I bought the computer, which has 1 or 2 terabytes on it. So there's not a space capacity issue there, except for the fact that, I was mentioning the other day, I'm well over a quarter of a terabyte. So in the short time that I've been making these videos, they've been taking up a lot of space on my phone, and I wanted to move them. I also wanted to do some editing because they're all in the raw form. They can use some editing. Give me one moment, please.
Good morning. Welcome to McDonald's. How can I help you today?
Large black coffee, please.
All right. If you could please just go to the second window. I'll be right there.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I'll remember. Capacity issue. Videos. So, anyway, the capacity, the actual issue I'm running into at this point is that, and I've had this forever with iPhones and PCs, they don't play well together. So I'm having trouble downloading the files. I wanted to download them in bulk, like a 26-hour download, something ridiculous like that. So what I'm going to have to do is start doing it on a daily basis.
211. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, very quickly, I will run out of space. So what I'm going to do, like I said, when I get home, after uploading to YouTube, when I get home, I'm going to download the files to my computer. And I have to think about whether or not I want to buy another NAS or come up with some kind of off-site file storage for these files. If I edit them down to content, then of course, obviously, self-deprecating humor again, that's absolutely true. There won't be any content, so it won't take up any space. But I think it's a real issue. I do want to keep going as if I'm making real videos, and that way I have to deal with the issues that you deal with when you have that much data. So I don't know how long it makes sense to preserve the raw. Like if I edit these down, I don't know if it'll be a different feel when you viewer, when you watch them back. If it's just tightly cut and no dead space, I don't know if it has the same organic feel that the uncut videos would have. Not that there's anything to that. So yeah, it's a toss-up. And on top of that, I could just delete the files. I don't really need them. If YouTube were to suddenly lose these videos, there would be no great loss. So that's it too. But the other end of it is I would like to come up with a solution. I want to get better at the editing. Not so much for me. Like I said, my daughter has shown interest in doing YouTube videos. At least for her, if she decides to do that, I could, I'd like to learn, some of the tips and tricks that YouTubers have. I mean, I could also look it up, but hands-on learning I've found is very good. I'm not saying I'm not willing to learn or stand on the shoulders of giants or learn from other people's mistakes. This one's pretty straightforward. I think what a lot of people say is, well, you've already got your files on YouTube. I'm pretty sure they're not in, I can't imagine they're the same resolution that I recorded in. Maybe they are. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I have to look into when it comes to that. I'm going to need storage anyway. It's good to have backup. If you have one, you have none. You know the rule when it comes to backing up your files. If you have two, you have one. If you have one, you've got none. So yeah, there's the matter of space, and that pesky little issue. Like certain files cause it to crash altogether. So I've got to look at what's causing that. But I'm definitely going to record the videos. I'm going to post them to YouTube, and then when I get home, I'm going to try to pull the ones down to my PC, at least for now, to the D drive that I most recently made. If it doesn't take too long, I'll try to do 2. I gotta name these better. That's not even the issue. The issue is I'm not naming them before I upload them. So I upload them to YouTube, I give them a name, but the raw files on my phone just have whatever that name is that the iPhone deemed it would be named. So it's just some kind of bizarre name. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to see it by date. But the other thing is, like, all these folders, like there's in the DCIM folder on the iPhone, it keeps creating multiple folders. Some of the folders are empty. I'm assuming I can just delete the folders, but yeah. So that's what I'll do. I'll upload my videos to YouTube. I will download them to my PC each day, and then I will delete the existing file on my phone to preserve space, because at this rate, in a couple of weeks, I will be out of space on my phone, and then it'll be a hardship to try to get all that data off the phone. I don't want to be in that position where every day I've got to delete data, so I have enough space to do whatever it is I'm doing. So that's the plan. There's also a plan to get in shape, but that's a completely separate plan. Doing that one yet. This one I will probably start today, the moving files off the phone. I started yesterday. I moved some files off the phone, but they're just random things. And if you have an iPhone, and I think if you're like a normal person, very quickly you just fill it up. You don't even realize all the stuff you take pictures of and film. When you throw something like this on top of it, it's just it's crazy. Just these little videos alone. Like yesterday afternoon, I made 2 videos because in the middle one stopped. It's not more time, it's just 2 separate videos to keep track of. I would like to stitch them together into one video, but maybe I'll just leave them as standalone. Like, there's no even though we've started to establish some structure here, the 20-minute segments, there's still no well-defined content. It's just straightforward stream of consciousness, me blathering for an hour and a half on my way to work. That takes us to the halfway point in the first chunklet. Yay! Or just about. Ah, I forgot all my stuff! Yeah. crap. I had some fist wraps and some tin foil I was going to take to work today. God damn it. I can't go back for it. I don't have time. I'll have to remember for tomorrow. Whoa! Whoa! So, black ice. It's a thing. The first whoa was because the guy in front of me suddenly started to go sideways. I thought he was swerving around something. The second whoa was me sliding on black ice. So be careful out there, kids. It's black icy. Let me give people a little more room. I've already got a good bit of distance between me and the guy in front of me, but I don't think it's enough for these conditions. Again, I'm leaving my house a little later than I would have liked to, right up against that limit where I have to make the decision as to whether or not I'm going to take the highway or take the back roads to work. I went with the back roads because that's my preference. It's a shorter run, it takes longer, but it's less miles, less tolls. I think it makes sense. It shouldn't cause me to be late. I just won't get there as early as I like. I have a bit of a headache today. I think it's a tension headache. It's in my above my eyes, forehead based. My hand hurts. That's because I'm an idiot. Are there any interesting stories? I didn't check the comments this morning before I got moving. There rarely are any. I have no viewership. I've got one subscriber. Between the two channels, I have one subscriber. So on average, I have a half a subscriber. According to my phone, I now have 3 channels. Unfortunately, I've adopted the computer. The algorithm now thinks I own that other channel. I wish that guy would come out of the woodwork and claim his channel back, because I can't figure out how to disconnect his channel from my 2 channels. So there is a 3rd channel. I am not a teenage boy playing baseball. That 3rd channel is not me. It might look like it's me now because it's linked to my other 2 accounts, but that was a mistake. The guy just has the same name as me, and I accidentally tried to log into his account instead of mine. Gosh, I hope I didn't take over his Gmail. I'll have to check, because now I have 2 Gmail accounts too. Gmail, email. I don't think you have to say email after Gmail, do you? Yeah, that sounded stupid. I have, because I think each YouTube channel has to have a separate email attached to it. I don't know. It's certain platforms. It's very easy to jump back and forth between personas, and so far with YouTube, it's been a challenge every time, because I'm uploading these dark videos, these early morning AM videos, to the channel that you're watching now, and the afternoon drive, the well-lit videos, because of the sun, they go to the other channel. And to switch back and forth between channels on my phone is, I must be doing it wrong, because every single time I have to add a channel, and then it shows up. I think it might have something to do with accidentally linking to the other one. I don't know. But whenever I'm on this one, it won't show me the other one. I have to add a channel. I add that one, then it gives me 3 choices: the one I'm on, or the other 2. When I'm on the other one and I do that. Either way, it's it's a bit just a couple of extra clicks, but it's not a smooth transition from one channel to the other channel so that I can upload content. We were Zillowing yesterday, scouring the planet for properties for various reasons, whether it's retirement property, a place to live, B&B, or rental, and it's phenomenal. This has got to be a bubble because the prices, like there were two main categories of properties we ran into. People who scooped them up very recently, like shitty properties, scooped them up recently at market value at the time, or the trending market value, or below market value. Not even necessarily based on their condition. Some of these things are just like piles of sticks. And they're trying to double and triple their money in the course of a month. They'll buy a crap piece of property, and then they'll put it right back up on the market for 3 times what they bought it for. And it's definitely not worth it. And they're like marketing them like they're these gems in the rough, and a lot of them are just rough in the rough. The other category is just stuff that's they're good properties, they've got good land, but the amount that the property prices have spiked in the past couple of years is just phenomenal. I don't want to buy due to we're looking for a property due to it's a business move. It's a complex business move, and I always feel like I missed my turn there, but I didn't. My turn's coming up. I don't always, but for the past 2 days, I felt like I missed my turn when I didn't turn there. I used to turn there, but that takes me to the highway eventually, and I prefer to stay on the back roads. There's multiple routes that I've taken to work in the morning. Some of them the highway the whole way, some hybrid combinations. I don't generally mix it up too much. I think this one that I'm on now is probably the best choice. It's a relatively straight line, even though it's a 1 lane all the way. In the early morning, it doesn't really matter. I'd like to ramble on more about the hard drive space issue and the complexities of linking my iPhone to my PC, but we're down to the 2-minute mark on the first chunklet of the day, so I'm not going to do that. I used to paint my fingernails black a long time ago, when I was in the gothy stage of my life, listening to The Cure, The Dark. What fun it was. That's like just a completely disconnected thought. I'm probably not going to carry that into the next chunklet, but just trying to make sure that we don't have any dead air, like forcing people to like listen the whole time. I haven't gotten sick yet. Like I said, I've had a tickle in my throat for a couple of days, but it hasn't amounted to anything. Oh, pardon me. Bit on the tired side, as I usually am in the morning. I need to have some of my coffee. I'll start the next segment with that. This isn't a real sign-off, as I said. This is just part 1 of 3 on the morning drive to work, sometimes 4, depending on how things go. But have a wonderful day. I was about to turn it off. Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. It occurs to me that these people are driving really slow and it's getting on my nerves. Coffee. Must have coffee. What's that noise? Is that reading? Smells much better than yesterday. It doesn't have that burnt ashtray, notes of burnt ashtray. Yesterday's coffee was perfectly fine. It's probably still too early to drink this. It's probably scalding hot, but I want some. Yum, yum, yum. Sorry, I'm going to need a couple more sips before I start. So the ultimate goal, related to some of the things I talked about earlier, but not a continuation of the thought, is really separate. Like houses, when I've talked about, like, the Powerball lottery went off last night. It was like $500 million. I don't know if anyone won. I haven't checked the news. I haven't checked my ticket or anything like that. But one of the things I often say when I've talked about this, like when the lottery gets real big and I buy a ticket, I can't think of anything fun to do. But I do know one of the things I want to do, and I don't know if I discussed that at length at any point. I want to, when I was in high school many years ago, my first high school before I switched, I was taking architecture, and I was not good at it. Anyway, so when I say I want to design a house, I don't want to design a house. I have no skills at that. I know what I want. So, like, if funds weren't an issue, I would want to commission a house to be built, and there are certain things I'd want. Like, one of the things, just as a joke, if it could be done in a not ridiculous way, I would want to have a house with all the rooms. When I say that, I don't mean like tons and tons of rooms, although it would translate into that. Like anything, like I want to know how many separate designated rooms in houses I could have, like a wine cellar, a kitchen, parlor, fainting room, scullery, a mud room. I would want it designed in a certain way, though. I would want, like, certain things aren't about that aspect. Certain things are about more what I consider practical, or maybe impractical, but I still want it. Like, I would want a porch around the house, but I would want also once, basically like a double wall. Like, I would want a porch, but then I would want an enclosed porch inside that porch. I want a mudroom, but I want a mudroom that's sealed off, not just a vestibule. I want a mudroom, a room that you go into that, like, it's not into the house yet. It's completely closed off. It has that whole down thing, like a sunken-in parlor thing, so it's a low point. Like I said, wine cellar. Like, there are certain ones, panic room, obviously secret corridor behind the bookcase, secret corridor behind the steps. If given the option, I would go hot and heavy with secret corridors. Like, everything's a secret corridor. Behind the refrigerator, under the mouse pad. No, not to that extreme, but I would like some secret rooms. They don't have to be like not creepy stuff. Just hidden away little treasures, like a little man cave, or little things that they're a secret to everyone, but the elite, the ones that I let in on the secret. A scullery is important. Every house should have a scullery. It is not a room where you process skulls. Oh, I guess, that's up for debate. In theory. Like, one of the things, like, not just about the design of the house, but the location. I would really like it to be near flowing water. I always feel that's important, like, not just for the aesthetics and especially if it's flowing clean water, that'd be great, and you always have a water supply, but like just the practicality of it. Like, you could generate small amounts of power or large amounts of power, depending on how clever you are, by taking advantage of it. There's just lots of useful things about being near flowing water. Land, we joke about, we're not kidding, like, if we could have all the land, we take all the land. Like, we want to have land with significant amount of acreage that we're not bothered by, and we don't bother any neighbors. If we see you from our house, we want to know that you're definitely on our land. It's like, hey, go away. You invited us over, go away. Certain things like would be too much. Like, I wouldn't mind having, and this is like where it gets to like crazy expensive, like, I'd like to have an arcade, I'd like to have a bowling alley, like a bar / nightclub area in the house. That's the point where it gets to ridiculousness. That's the stuff where, like, when we're going over the budget and they're saying it's going to cost this much, and I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. What can we eliminate? I guess we could cut the basketball court and the bowling alley. Of course, if I won the $500 million, that might not be an issue. Sorry, I'm just sitting here doing very simple math in my head, very slowly. Like, I was thinking $500 million. Just 1/10 of that would be $50 million. 1/10 of that, which would be 1/100th, would be $5 million. 1/10 of that would be $500,000. So that's like you've gone down 4 orders of magnitude, and you still haven't gotten down to walking around money. It's interesting. There's an interesting number that my uncle Chris, his name is my name too. Whenever we go out, we don't go out. So he turned me on to the number 72, which is an interesting number. Like at 10, if you put your money in a bank at 10% interest, does that sound right? Yeah. If you put your money in a bank at 10% interest, it doubles in a bank, in anything. If you invested it at 10%, yeah, put it in a bank at 10% interest. Let me see you try. Invest it at 10%. It takes 7.2 years to double your money. And I think conversely, if you invest your money at 7.2%, it takes 10 years to double your money. That's just an interesting way of thinking about investing. If you're putting your money away, it kind of gives you a kind of a milestone to know how quickly you're going to grow your wealth. And investment doesn't have to be just putting cash in a bank or in a stock bond or anything like that. Investment, they're more complex, but if you invest in real estate, you got to take all your expenses and things like that into account. But anyway, if you want to know how quickly you're growing your wealth, the number 72 is a good guidepost for figuring out like how quickly you're going to get to whatever your goal is. It's probably important to have a goal too. I think it appears to me, like in the few people I've talked to, as I get older, I mean, I've always been interested in like, what am I going to do when I get older? Am I going to work until I'm like dead, or am I going to eventually be able to retire with some kind of passive income from investments and things like that? And I'm not saying I have a much better one, but I do have a number, and I think it's just like everybody else's number. It's unattainable. I'm never going to be happy with the amount of money I've put away for retirement. I'm always going to be scared that it's going to run out on me. But I notice a lot of people just they don't have a financial number set. They put money away, but they haven't thought about how it's going to accumulate, how quickly it's going to accumulate, what the number is going to be. If they're lucky enough to have like a 401, or they actively manage their investments, they can look at their portfolio and see where the number's going. But I don't think, I feel as though a lot of people don't actively manage their retirement investments, and they don't have a number. They just know how much they're going to have. I'm not saying that everybody has the ability to, control what they're doing, nor am I saying everybody has the same stomach for risk as everyone else. I get nervous. Like I've made some foolish moves with my money. Like I've made some good choices too, but as you get closer to retirement, you have to, conventional wisdom, which makes sense, is you have to lower your risk threshold because you don't want to lose your nest egg. So anyway, the point is that a lot of people are looking at a number, but they're looking at the wrong number. They're just looking at an age. I'm going to retire here. How much am I going to have? Not how can I get this much when I reach that age? And it's not necessarily a simple question, but I think a lot of people are looking at it backwards. They're just wondering, how much am I going to have when I reach this age? Not how can I get this money by the time I reach that age? I'm asking myself that question, and unfortunately, I have to find a way to supplement what I'm doing in order to reach the number that I'm looking for. And my goal is literally to just, at the bare minimum, I want to replace most of my current yearly salary. I want to have the same lifestyle. If I could stretch it, if I could make more in retirement off my investments and retirements and stuff like that would be fantastic. To try to grow wealth, like to retire and not peck away at the nest egg, to have it still grow in that way, really piss piss off my daughter by leaving it to charity or something like that. But anyway, that's my experience with people. I clearly no financial genius. I'm still driving 3 to 4 hours a day to do a 9 to 5. And as I said, my roadmap doesn't get me to where I want to be in time. So still looking for, like I think I even said in a previous video, I'm looking for, like, what do I need to train myself in so that when I retire, I can find a job. I didn't mean that to sound depressing in any way. It's early and I've got early morning, like, semi-Lou Rawls voice going on, but it was just an observation about, I think the same thing lots of people think about. Some people don't even want to think about it because it's a horrifying concept. Like, they're at a point where they're in a very bad situation. They haven't had the opportunity to save, or worse, they had the opportunity and they didn't, and they lament not planning for the future. Yeah, I don't know which one's worse, actually. Not having the ability to and knowing that you need to, and watching the hours tick away. Tick, tick, tick. Some people get mad, like it's not like I bring it up to everyone all the time. It's not something I'm constantly talking about, but it's something I'm interested in. And like I explained to you before, like I work with an older crew, so it's on everyone's mind. And literally the other day when I was talking about it, somebody in my office just walked into my office, and the first thing they started talking to me about was their retirement, because they were they're not that far away, and they shared way too much information about their financial situation. I mean, it's okay. I don't mind. I'm not going to tell anybody about their financial situation. It's just now I know. But it also gives me insight into the way certain people think, what their plans are. Like, one of the things I don't want to have to do is that whole downsizing thing when you finally retire. Like I said, I want to keep going with what I have, and maybe do a little more traveling. Like, I haven't traveled in years. That may be wishing for too much. A lot of last thought on this. There's a lot of planning that has to happen too. Like I'm in the last 10 to 20 years before a couple of things, but hopefully just before retirement. And there's certain financial planning that should take place. Like, there's certain bills you have, car payments, houses, maybe your next car payment, depending on how recently you got into your latest car. Making sure that you plan for those bills not to be there, because there will be different expenses in retirement. And maybe in another short sometime I'll expand on that. But we're coming right up against the 20-minute mark, so 40-minute mark actually, because this is Chunklet 2. But I'm going to say, again, I'm not really signing off, but I'm just going to say it because I'm making these 20-minute increments. I think that's probably going to be one of the last times I say that. Have a wonderful day. Good morning. It's January 24th, Tuesday, 2023. This is part 3 of my drive to work. It's a little treacherous out here. I hit some black ice earlier. People are driving a lot slower than I would like, but they're driving appropriately for the fact that we've already hit some black ice on the way. As I always say, I want to get to work earlier than I do. I don't think it would ever matter if I got to work an hour early. I'd still be like, if I got in a little bit earlier, I could have got more done. But that's just maybe. So, McDonald's coffee again this morning. It's good. It's doing that magical thing that coffee does. I have to wonder, like, I mean, I think we all know it's, caffeine is addictive, blah, blah, blah. Like, obviously, children don't drink coffee. Like, is it in like, I'm trying to remember when I started drinking coffee. When is everyone introduced to coffee? When does it become part of the daily routine and necessity? I know there's a bunch of freaks out there that says, I never drink coffee. You know what? Go screw yourself. Sorry. But yeah, it seems like there's an indoctrination. Like they get you hooked on this stuff. Like I don't know if there's some big background conspiracy where, like, you need the people to need the coffee so they can take the land, the blah blah blah, the beans, the people, blah 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 blah. I have no idea, but it just seems like your whole youth. I guess soda when you're a kid, like if you're drinking colas and things like that, they're caffeinated. So maybe that's what they do. They get you young. Chocolate, I think that has caffeine in it. If it's added, or if it's just naturally there. That whole caffeine cycle. But it's been around forever, right? Like that's not a lie. Like the Aztecs were drinking coffee. They were drinking cocoa though. Weren't they drinking some like nasty cocoa? I don't know. I have to look it up. But like, does anyone remember? Does anyone remember their first cup of coffee, or is it just a blur of coffee drinking as far back as you can remember? I didn't drink coffee as a kid. Why would I drink coffee? Some adult nastiness, let alone now. Like I've gone the full grandpa route. Like I only drink black coffee. And the worse the coffee, the better. Like I make that joke about burn ashtray, but I do, like I've talked about this before, there's certain flavors I like I like skunky beer. I do sometimes enjoy burnt coffee. There's something about that flavor that, like I like bitter things. I say I don't like sweets, but I do like dark chocolate. I mean, I'll even eat milk chocolate. Like there's I prefer dark chocolate, probably because it's bitter. Baker's chocolate, not so much. Tastes like chalk. Trying to think of something to say without doing callbacks to the earlier two chunklets that I filmed today. I'll tell you about one of the times we went to Vegas. So this is just like a mini story. It's not going to fill the whole time, but it's interesting. Me and my wife used to go out to California every year to, I think it was Pasadena, something like that, for Xena convention. And we used to eventually we started turning that into a vacation. Since she was going out there anyway for the Xena convention, it seemed like a waste. Why not parlay that into a vacation? So go to the XenaCon, and then after that, hit Vegas or something like that, or California. So we started doing that. One time at band camp, going to Vegas, we're going across the desert, and I forget why. We ended up at some kind of, there was like a ghost town, and then there was like this hill, like there's just this, what's left of a mountain, I have no idea. And there were like bat caves and things like that. So we climbed this thing. It's I don't know, it's like one of those things with the really steep walls, and it's flat on top. So we go climbing it, and I'm like poking my hole in, fully expecting, that whole cartoonish thing where a bunch of bats come flying out and I go flying backwards down the hill. That didn't happen. Unfortunately, my wife lost her footing, and she was filming in the bat holes, and she lost her footing and she fell down. She was in a different part than me. It was also very steep, very high incline, and she was rolling down the hill. Now she's not ex-military, she's not anything like that, but she had the camera in her hand, and she did exactly what you were supposed to do with your weapon. Like, she fell down that hill and she protected that camera at all costs. Tore her knees up. She was raggedy from the waist down, like bleeding and stuff like that. It took me a few moments to get to her because I wasn't going to dive down the hill and be in the same condition. So I climbed my way down as quickly as I could, and we piled in the car and we went to the casino that we were, I think it was the one we were staying in. It may have been, for some reason I get the sense that we might have been staying in the Pyramid one, but I don't think we ever stayed in the Pyramid one. We used to stay at the castle one. Childish, but we really liked it. Years later, we stopped staying in the casinos themselves. We found a better way to vacation, but we haven't done it in a while. But there's a better way to do it, and I'll cover that in another video. Both ways of vacationing have their pros and cons, but when I have more time, I'll go into the details of the way that we vacation now, when we can vacation, and I think it's a much better way to do it. So anyway, we walk into the casino. They're like gray sweatpants. She still has them, I think, and like we're a mess. Look, she's a mess. I'm not so much a mess, but she's a mess. She's bleeding from the knees down. And like, we walk up to the counter, like the first thing we're like, do you have any Band-Aids? And like, they're like, no. So we check in, but then we leave to go find a CVS. So we're wandering around Vegas. My wife looks like she was attacked by zombies from the waist down. We spot a few Elvi and get some Band-Aids and Bactine or whatever it is you get, and head back to her room. But it was funny, and I think she was recording at the time. I don't know. I'll have to check with her, but I think she may have been recording that whole time she was rolling down the hill protecting the camera. Great reflexes on that girl. One time we went to the Hoover Dam, and I was a little concerned. You go into the Hoover Dam, and there's like a mixture of finished concrete floors and stuff like that, and then there's rock walls and things like that. And as we're wandering through the dam, there's water. There's water coming down the walls. There's like these cracks and things like that. And I'm like I don't want to ask, but I had to ask, like, is this okay? And apparently it's perfectly normal. You want that. You don't want the pressure to build up. So yes, it's normal that the water flows, and I guess it collects in channels and they pump it out. But it's a little disconcerting being in a dam that big and seeing all this water running down the walls. I may have mentioned it a couple of weeks ago in one of my videos. I haven't mentioned it since, and I haven't really been following the news. I'm kind of wondering what's going on with Lake Mead out there. Like, I know the level kept dropping and dropping and dropping. That's one of the like I always said, I wanted to move south and west when I retire, because I want to get out of these cold climates. I just don't like it. I want to be someplace warmer. And it was a concern years ago. Like, water has always been a concern about, like, living in that whole Arizona, Nevada area. Like, I kind of gravitate towards that. That's where my parents wanted to move when they retired. Didn't have a chance to do that, unfortunately. But because they were interested in it, I was interested in it. Like, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Like, it's warm-ish, warmer than here. When it's hot, it's a dry heat. Also, if you're, I think it's changed because people brought all these plants, but back then it was also great if you had allergies, because there weren't a lot of the plants and things that people who have sinus issues are allergic to out there. I don't know that that's so much the case anymore, but the big problem now, as it was back then, like, there was always the concern about water, and now it's a big concern. Like we said, Lake Mead has been drying up. Like, they're finding all the bodies and things like that like people have dumped there over the years. That's horrible. But I really would like to check when I guess when I get home tonight, if I still remember, I'll look into the Lake Mead situation. Unless you guys happen to see this. If I'm lucky and this uploads quickly today, maybe you could just send me a text and say, yeah, the situation's real bad. They're out of water. They all died. Wah, wah. It's too tight. It's my hair tie on my wrist. You shouldn't do this. Don't wear a hair tie on your wrist. You'll get carpal tunnel syndrome. I'm wearing it on my wrist because I haven't brushed my hair yet. I told you before, I brush my hair when I get to work, and then I put it back in a ponytail so I can look like a psycho. Get the patchy mustache thing going too. Like, it's a whole look I'm going for. I don't know how to describe it. If you can describe it, put it in the comments. Besides moving south and west, I mean, other issues are I don't know how much of it's true, how different it is. I mean, like, you're connected to the entire world now, but it seems like the world's going to absolute shit. Like, it just, the crime and violence everywhere is just unbelievable. You almost want to, like, find your own little island somewhere and live there. Like, and it just seems like it's just creeping out in all directions. I don't know that there's an escape from it. I definitely don't know if there's an easy solution. Like, I don't know who's pulling the strings, but like, everyone has become so polarized. Like, different groups. Well, I've talked about this before. I have no answers. I'm not going to dive into a bellyache about how screwed up the world is right now, but it's pretty screwed up. was young, I pictured the way civilization was going to advance. I thought we were, I thought, like, I was worried about countries having differences, and I thought over time, like, we were maturing, like, we were all brought up on Star Trek and stuff like that, so we thought, like, as society matures, as leadership gets more and more, with the future, with technology and stuff like that, realizing that our differences are very minor, that, like, these countries would start to not fight so much, and we would start doing what's really important, because we're on this rock flying through space, hurtling through space with this tiny little envelope of atmosphere that we can survive in. You'd think that we would have a connected effort to, create habitable space stations and colonize other planets like Mars and things like that, or even the moon because the moon is low gravity, a great place, a great launching pad to get to other places. Mars is good too. Mars is a little further away, but I pictured, like, we would be more focused on that as a society, like the technology. I thought industry would be wrapped around, like, especially at this point, 2023, a lot of industries would be based on, like, transportation to and from low Earth orbit, because we would be in the process of building these factories in space and building these stations in space where these habitats where science would be happening, and whatever products you need to make in low gravity environments would be done. Like, I know we started doing studies on that, and there's, like, a lot of things that can be done in low gravity environments that can't be done here, but that never ramped up. And, like, now I'm not concerned about countries fighting each other. It's like I'm afraid to go through certain neighborhoods because we're fighting each other. People are getting shot for no reason. Like, we didn't go in the right direction. We're going in the complete opposite direction. I don't mean to end this on a down note, but just lamenting the fact that as a society we're just crumbling. I believe it's mostly my fault. But, like, that, when you want to rally around a common enemy, that's it. Like, the mortality of our species, or the mortality of our planet, it's a very fragile thing. One big rock, one pyroclastic blast could wipe out most of what we have here. I really think we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be fighting mortality and trying to find a way to get off the planet, or be able to be off the planet in case of a disaster. That's just me. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll start my own exoplanet business, import-export business, interplanetary. On that note, I think this is the end of Chunklet number 3. We still have some time, so I'm going to do a bonus track. Have a wonderful day. Good morning. This is segment 4. It's January 24th, Tuesday, 2023. This is the 4th segment. This one shouldn't be a full 20 minutes, but we'll see what happens. I was it might be, what time is it? Oh, it's going to be dicey. Hopefully this isn't a full 20 minutes, because if it's a full 20 minutes, I could end up being late for work. There's some black ice on the roads. It's dangerous out there, kids. Be careful. I hate winter. So in the previous 3 things, I talked about a bunch of stuff. I talked about finances, retiring. I talked about space, going to space, the death of the planet, various other things, violence. I think I might have mentioned this before. When I was a teenager, I wrote a report on nuclear proliferation, and this was back in the 80s. And back then, it was like really, really scary. We don't talk about it anymore. I don't know if they're decommissioning nuclear weapons or if they're making more and more. But if technology's advanced as quickly in that area as it has everywhere else, I mean, back then we had enough nuclear weapons on the planet to incinerate the entire planet many, many times over. So I imagine it's only worse now. But I forget why I mentioned that. Probably just a carryover from what I was talking about at the end of the last one. Again, just like one of those, what's that word I'm trying to think of? Something threats that threaten existence as we know it. Existential threat. Pardon me for a moment. I'm in a very dark section of road, and there's people coming at me, and I can't see it. And then, like I said, there's black ice out here this morning, so I have to be vigilant because I need to make it to work because I've got a job to do. Yeah, so anyway, I will, since this is the bonus track, I can do whatever I want. I really am concerned about the fact that, like, you know, as a we're not focusing. We don't have our eye on the prize. Like it's like even as individuals, like, you know, you have to be concerned about your own welfare and your family's welfare, but the welfare of the planet is important too. And as crazy as Elon Musk may seem, he has some really good ideas. Like I agree with him with you know, we've got to exist outside the planet. It's I mean, one, it will expire. Like, it's not going to be here forever. I mean, obviously it's going to be here for many, 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 many lifetimes, but you know, someday the sun will explode. And I know you're thinking, well, that's somebody else's problem. You know, a rock could hit us. I really think space exploration, having habitats in space, having the ability to easily go hither and yon is really important that we do that. I just like when you the violence in the cities, and like I don't know how to, like, I know they're completely unrelated, but like I see the two of them and I'm like, you can't be the same civilization. You can't be slaughtering each other in the streets and be setting up space cities. Like, we have to figure out what we're doing wrong. It just doesn't seem like, I wouldn't want, you know, on a long enough timeline, I wouldn't want us exploring space if I were another spacefaring civilization. We're just a bunch of frickin' maniacs killing ourselves. Like, we're like, if you're afraid of alien invasion because, you know, they could be violent, they just want to take, like, look what we're doing to ourselves. Like, why? Don't bother being afraid of aliens, just be afraid of people in your neighborhood. It saves time. Eliminate the middleman. I'm not fear-mongering. I'm not promoting being afraid of people. I'm just saying it's dangerous out there, kids, and the news makes it seem, and it's probably true, it seems like very, very, very dangerous. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it. really got to think about something upbeat for this bonus track, because I think a lot of what I was talking about was either seemed down, or it was just something that was like just a little too adult, too grown-uppy. And who likes that? A bunch of people at work that at least two people at work that have never heard of Star Blazers. That boggles my mind. How can you not be familiar with Star Blazers? They're like around the same age as me too. Suddenly got very cold in here. That's unfortunate. I could have used that couple of seconds. So I'm at a place where I normally turn, and there's a guy in front of me who's not turning, which means I can't turn. Wait a minute. What in the world? That doesn't make any sense. Is that right? So I don't know why I said what I said, but I said it. I said if this one lasted 20 minutes, I would be, but no, I've got plenty of time. What the heck was I looking at? So my mother wanted me to drop out of school and become a roofer. Very weird. I didn't. I stayed in school. Oh, not a school bus? That's weird. Did I just manifest that by saying school? One of the jokes I make is like I really wanted to be a ditch digger. There's nothing wrong with being a ditch digger. I actually do like digging holes. Like it's one of the things I do at the beach, or at least I did for years. I love digging giant holes, making bridges across them. But I couldn't be a ditch digger because I have a bad back for various reasons. Some of it due to self-inflicted just abuse, like stupid things I used to do in my youth that definitely hurt my back. But I've got other medical issues, like genetic and things. Some things you're born with, some things you get over time. But some of the stuff I did myself. So it's a nice combination. It's a nice miasma of problems. I got a lot of things that end with osis wrong with my back. A lot of osises. Osi. So anyway, yeah, I wouldn't make a good ditch digger. Don't have the back for it. There we go. Like it's I keep talking about the fact that I think like I'm right on the hairy edge of being sick, like a tickle in my throat and stuff like that. And this isn't a breeze. The windows are closed. My temperature just suddenly maybe my temperature suddenly spiked and I feel cold. I don't know, but I'm just suddenly very, very cold. I just turned the heat up. I'm trying to remember. Oh, nope, that's not it either. I'm wondering where my seat heater is. I'm surprised I haven't been running it the whole time. I can't look for it right now. Why isn't it illuminated? What the heck is it? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this is the bonus track? This is lousy. I was expecting more singing, more dancing. So I find that as I get older, there are certain things I don't like as much as I did when I was younger, and it upsets me. Things I don't find as funny. Like, I'm not humorless. I find lots of things funny. In fact, I find some stuff that's not even funny hilarious. Something will happen, then you cue the insane, nervous laughter. But a lot of Monty Python skits didn't age well for me. They're not enjoyable watching them back. They're not bad, but they're not as funny as I remember them. And I can't quite pinpoint why. And it has nothing to do with like being an older show and like, because I like comedy from older shows and stuff like that. Like I enjoy the Dick Van Dyke Show and Hogan's Heroes. But those shows, whichever two I just listed, they're situational comedies, I guess, to a certain degree. They're not sketch comedy, and a lot of Monty Python is sketch comedy, and like I said, it just doesn't. I don't dislike Monty Python. It doesn't play as well as it did when I was younger, and it bothers me. I want it to be as funny as it was when I was a kid. Three Stooges, I know it's kind of the reverse with the Three Stooges. Three Stooges is a lot of slapstick comedy, but it's there's a little more going on there. I didn't like Three. Like I would watch it. There's nothing else to watch. It was like three shows when I was younger. Ow. But I appreciate, like, it's kind of a paradoxical thing. Same thing with Laurel and Hardy, and not Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, well, Laurel and Hardy too. But who are those other two guys? Who are those other two guys? It doesn't matter. I'll think of it later. Anyway. Tastes change as you age. This meeting could have been an email. I guess the biggest thing, when I keep saying I want to get on the road earlier, is when I get to this point in the trip, there's a pretzel factory right here, and I really want to stop and get pretzels, but I literally don't have time. I would like to stop and get pretzels for the crew. Where is it? Is it still in there? I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm pretty sure it's in there somewhere. I'll have to watch this back and see if there's a color change in my face, because I'm suddenly, you know how they say, yeah, like it hit me like a ton of bricks. It's starting to hit me like a ton of bricks. Could just be something I ate. Could have been coffee. Slamming down all that coffee on an empty stomach. Could be all the rotting food I ate yesterday. I think I have about a 50% hit ratio. When I do these videos and I say I'm going to put it in the comments after the fact, I know I've done it with the cheesesteak place, but there's other times when I've said it, and I can't remember what I said I was going to put in the comments. I got to find a way to make a note to myself. Maybe make a audio note or something on my other phone to remind me that if I say I'm going to put something in the comments, to do it. I don't believe I said anything in this video about putting something in the comments, but I know I have in others, and I hadn't got to it. Yeah, this isn't good at all. I feel terrible. To the point where I am going to need a bathroom as soon as I get into work. So I got that going for me. He's dragging something. It's making little sparks. Now the tummy's going. What has happened? Anyway, it's close enough to the 20-minute mark where I'm probably going to cut it a few seconds early, but this is where I generally end the video anyway. So I'm going to say, have a wonderful day.